Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Clarksville's Political Forum. I'm Van Stokes, your moderator for today's session, and on behalf of Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce, we're glad you could be with us today. Once again, today's forum is coming to you from the facilities of the Mass Communications Department here on the campus of Austin Peay State University. Our forum is intended to give you, the voters, an informed choice when you go to the polls on August the 2nd. Today, we're going to have the opportunity to talk with the candidates who will be on the ballot seeking to be your representative from District 10 on the Montgomery County Commission. They are, to my left, Ms. Martha Brockman and Mr. James Lewis. Now, in a moment, they're each going to have 2 minutes in which to present opening remarks from their seats at the table. Following their opening remarks, we're going to then turn to our panelists for a series of questions. Joining us on my right, once again, are our panelists, Mr. Jay Albertia, Mr. Lee Irwin, and Mr. Jimmy Settle. Now, each candidate will be given 1 minute in which to respond to each question in a rotating order. At the conclusion of the questioning, each candidate will then have 2 minutes in which to present a closing statement. Closing statements will come in reverse order from the opening comments. Our timekeeper for this session, Ms. Yvonne Pickering. The county commissioners are voted into office for four-year terms. That's a 4-year term, 1 vote, 4 years. And they're elected by voters from within their respective districts. The county commission meets twice monthly to discuss and vote on a variety of resolutions. They range from county government policies, county budget, school system budget, and property taxes, just to name a few. County commissioners also serve on various committees which are devoted to different causes and departments, subject areas to include the county jail, ranging all the way over to animal control. Let's go to our candidates now for their opening comments. We will hear first from Ms. Martha Brockman.
Thank you. My name is Martha Brockman, and I am a Yankee who loves the South. Been in Clarksville for 21 years, have enjoyed every minute of it, and I enjoy being on the county commission. This is my 12th year, and in that time, the county has moved forward. We've grown, and of course, with the growth, we face many problems, and I enjoy being part of the solution to those problems. Of course, it's budget season, and the thing that we always talk about is, the deficit. I am pleased to say that during the time that I have been on the commission, our deficit has gone from $302 million to just over 280. And that takes planning and work, and I'm proud to be part of that work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We next have opening comments from Mr. James Lewis.
Good afternoon. I am James Lewis, and I am running for County Commissioner for District 10. First, I'd like to thank Leadership Clarksville and the County Commission for hosting this today and giving us the opportunity. I have lived in District 10 for the past 25 years. I'm retired from the United States Army, and for the past 20 years, I have served as a teacher at Northwest High School with the Clarksville-Montgomery County School System. I also served 10 years as a councilman for the city of Clarksville and served in various positions while there. I look forward to becoming a county commissioner and serving the men and women and the constituents of District 10. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your opening comments. Let's go now to our panelists who have a number of questions that they would like to ask. Our first question will come from Mr. Jay Albertia, and it will go to Ms. Martha Brockman.
Ms. Brockman, there are a lot of issues facing our community and the county commission in the upcoming years. What do you think are the two largest issues that are facing the county commission right now, and how do you plan to address those?
Well, I think one of the issues is stormwater. It always seems to be a problem, and with all the new development, it has become even more of a problem. How to solve it is very difficult because, of course, the state gets involved in it, the Environmental Protection Agency gets involved, and you have a lot of agencies that you have to work with to solve storm water runoff.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lewis.
I think one of the problems that the county has, or one of the problems in the county, is education. After working for 20 years for the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system, I think we really need to relook on how much money we give to the school system, because for us to stay online and be able to compete with all the other schools within the state. Now, Montgomery County has an outstanding school system, but we need more laptops and more take-home computers for the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lee Irwin, you have the next question, and it goes to Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Lewis, tell us what kind of management, organizational experience, or even education that you have to bring to the office of District 10.
Management skills. I was a first sergeant in the United States Army and managed thousands of soldiers at one time. And then I have a bachelor's degree in education and political science. Also, I served 10 years on the Clarksville City Council, so I understand how government works, and also being involved with the constituents in District 10.
Ms. Brockman.
Concerning management, I have been involved with the Tennessee Federation of Fire Chaplains. I am an assistant chaplain for the Clarksville Fire Department. And many others. I have been involved in Christian schools and teaching for 14 years and have had other management experience. I cannot say that I have a degree. I have enough credits for a degree if I ever put them all together. My husband was in the military and I took courses everywhere we went. And I probably ought to do that. I am glad to represent the folks in District 10. I have been doing that for 12 years and I will continue to do that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jimmy Settle, you have the next question, and that will go to Ms. Brockman for the first response.
Thank you. Ms. Brockman, there's a number of capital projects on the table, as there always are, with reference to this current budget that's being considered for the county. One particular capital project that I'd like to ask you about, a great deal of attention has been paid this budget season to the need, some say, for a second public library in this community. That there's a feeling that we're far underserved with libraries compared to most other cities our size, or even smaller for that matter. Is this the year to get that done?
I would love to see it done this year. It was shocking to me when I came to Clarksville to discover there was only one library. I have been in many cities where, my daughter, for instance, lives in Decula, Georgia. There are 2 libraries in Decula that's about the size of, trying to think, Woodlawn, and it just, yes, we need to do it. I'm not sure that we need to do it this year.
Mr. Lewis.
I feel that a public library, a second public library, is very important in Clarksville. North Clarksville could really use it, and they could look at it from a different aspect, take a building that's already there and have a multi-purpose building where the people that live in North Clarksville could use it to hold meetings and still have a public library there. The bookmobile that comes around, I don't think it's adequate enough for everything we need in North Clarksville. So as they look at that and budget that, I think they should look at a multi-purpose building so it could get more use out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. J. Alberti, you have the next question, and it goes to Mr. James Lewis.
Lewis, a lot of people have been talking about consolidation, and we know that the document is not completed as of yet, so we don't know everything in it. But with that aside, what is your personal feeling about consolidation? Do you think would be good for our community? And do you think with the document not being done yet, do you think there's enough time for the citizens of your district to review it before it gets voted on?
Because I do understand that the document is not completed, but I feel that we need a consolidated government for a lot of reasons, but I guess the biggest one with me be in the school system, and where the city and the county are different on a lot of things, but one government, we don't have people working against each other. And if you've lived in Clarksville a while, you know that the city and the county doesn't work real well together. So I think one government would make it all where we all know where our money is actually going. Thank you.
Ms. Brockman.
I have mixed feelings about consolidated government. A few years ago, when they first started talking about it, I sat down and figured out salaries for our top paid Montgomery County employees and discovered that by consolidating the government, just in those salaries alone, we would save $3 million a year. And I'm thinking, that's a lot of money. However, the way the document is written right at this moment, I don't think that that's the way to go. Until the document is completed and some things are changed and people have an opportunity to read through it, I think we probably need to put consolidated government on the back burner for a few years.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lee Irwin, you have the next question, and it will go to Ms. Brockman for the first response.
Ms. Brockman, let's talk about quality of life for a moment. Now, what quality of life issues do you feel Montgomery County could do a better job at providing for our citizens?
Well, I don't believe that we have enough multi-purpose things here in Clarksville. Of course, my children are all gone, and we're empty nesters, but I still think that there could be more activities for the children coming up. I think we could make better use of our schools during the summer for that purpose. I think there's a lot of things that could be done. I know that sports is very important, but I don't think we need a sports complex downtown. We need to have more businesses downtown. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Well, I think, Montgomery County is trying to do a lot. The downtown commons area, trying to move forward with parks and all. But for multi-purpose use for the whole family to go, I'll be honest with you, I look at Hopkinsville, and Hopkinsville is a small place and they have a water park. Clarksville does not have one. And I think that would be just a great thing to have a water park in Clarksville so that parents and families could go there and do different things with their children and all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jimmy Settle, if you would direct your question, please, to Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. So, Mr. Lewis, you referenced downtown commons. this current administration in county government is putting a lot of emphasis on downtown and trying to repair the tax base there. Downtown Commons is part of that. Tax increment financing for business development is part of that. Simply put, do you think this is the right direction for county government to be going?
No. And the reason that is I think that there's, the city's trying to do things downtown, and I think our tax dollars could be spent a better way personally right now when you look at budget and other things. But do I like the downtown commons? Sure, it's a very nice park. But if you go there in the daytime, I don't see a lot of people there. Let's just be honest with you. Thank you.
Ms. Brockman.
Would you repeat the question?
Sure.
Well, it basically is, do you like the direction that's happening with downtown redevelopment right now under the county's mode of directing it, whether it be the downtown commons, the tax increment financing plan for incentivizing business redevelopment? Do you think this is something county government should even be doing, for that matter?
No, and I voted against it. For one thing, I don't think the county has the right to do a tax plan for the city. I think more in the city we need more things like restaurants. I don't know about the rest of you, but I go down and talk to the folks down at the courtesy dock, and they tell me that they would spend $300 or $400 a day if there was something else for them to do in Clarksville. So I think we need more business, more shops, more things like that for those loopers that come through Clarksville.
Thank you very much. Let's go to our last round of questions from our panelists. Mr. J. Albertia, you have the next question, and it will go to Ms. Martha Brockman.
Ms. Brockman, we talked about general issues that face all of the county. Let's talk about your district in particular. What issues do you think are most pressing on your district currently?
Well, I think one of the things that we need in our district, because it goes right through the parkway, with new housing coming in, we need a light at Garrettsburg Road, because it's getting more and more difficult for those people to access the parkway. We need something for the kids to do. We have the Cleveland Community Center, but that's not enough. We need something else for the teenagers who walk through my yard constantly to do. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
I'm going to agree with Ms. Brockman, though. We do need more in North Clarksville for the teenagers to do. Heritage Park is too far away from District 10. I mean, for a child to walk there, that's not going to happen. The part, though, that District 10, probably 90% of it actually sets in Ward 3 of the city. So not a lot is happening can happen or does happen with the county because it sits within the city. There's a small portion that's just county owned, but probably 90% of it falls under Ward 3. The library, I think, would be the greatest thing that could come to North Clarksville, a multi-purpose building there. I would like to see that, or an expansion of the Cleveland Center there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have just joined us, you are watching Clarksville's Political Forum. We are meeting with candidates for the Montgomery County Commission from District Number 10, Ms. Martha Brockman and Mr. James Lewis. We continue with our questions now. The next question comes from Mr. Lee Irwin, and it goes to Mr. James Lewis.
Mr. Lewis, I think most everyone will agree on the importance of Fort Campbell. Are there any steps that you can think of the county commission could take to strengthen the ties with veterans as well as soldiers and families of post?
I think Mayor Dewar does an outstanding job as a mayor and being tied in with Fort Campbell. They created a veterans job, so when people get out of the military, whether it be retired or their time comes up to get out, they have a way that they can come and find out about the jobs within the county. So I honestly believe that Clarksville and Montgomery County does a lot and works hard to keep Fort Campbell tied in with the city of Clarksville and Montgomery County. Thank you.
Ms. Brockman.
My husband spent almost 26 years in the military, and we moved from one military community to the other, and coming to Clarksville was a breath of fresh air, because in this community, the military is accepted as your next door neighbor, the people you go to church with, the people you go out to eat with, which you don't find in many military communities. So I think Montgomery County has done an outstanding job of embracing the military, and everywhere you go on post, you will see that they cooperate with the county, they cooperate with the city, and we have a great relationship with Fort Campbell.
Thank you very much. Our last question for our candidates today will come from Mr. Jimmy Settle, and that will go to Ms. Martha Brockman.
Thank you, Ms. Brockman. Certainly the most challenging aspect of budgeting and county government over the next few years, I think without question, is going to be dealing with school overcrowding and how to solve that issue. What is the best strategy for attack in that? For example, do we build more schools? Do we build mega schools? How do we get our arms and minds around this?
That is always a question. I think every year that I have been on the county commission, we have built a new elementary school except for 2. I realize that this county is very mobile because of the military. I'm not sure what the answer is. I would like to see them be able to build schools with 2 stories instead of all one. That would alleviate some of the problem. Mega schools, I'm not sure that that is the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis?
I have to agree with Ms. Brockman. I am not for a mega school. And also that I sometimes think, though, that we should build 2-story schools. I'm almost pretty sure that it's cheaper to build up than build out. And I know they have to meet a lot of requirements for education, for children to go there. But as the school system grows and the county grows, I don't have an answer on which way we should go. Should we, build more schools or keep trying to fix the ones we have? Because a lot of times when you look at the big costs, it might have been cheaper just to go build another school than try to put a Band-Aid on something for a short period of time. Thank you.
And thank you very much. That concludes the questions from our panelists here today. We now turn to our candidates for closing remarks. They come in reverse order from the opening comments. We will hear first from Mr. James Lewis.
And I am James Lewis, and I am running for County Commissioner for District 10. And again, I would like to thank Clarksville leadership and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this today and giving us an opportunity. And I would love to be your voice in District 10. So if you could vote for me on August the 2nd, thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear closing comments from Ms. Martha Brockman.
My name is Martha Brockman, and I am running for County Commissioner in District 10. I have represented District 10 for several years and would like to continue to do so. Unlike my opponent, when he lost his last election, the Clarksville newspaper said that he was a reliable vote for the mayor. I want to be a reliable vote for my constituents in District 10 and for all of you in Montgomery County. I would ask for your vote on August the 2nd. And I would like to say again, thanks to the folks who put this together, give us the opportunity to talk to you for a few moments. Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to Ms. Martha Brockman and Mr. James Lewis for being willing to share your time and your thoughts with us here today. And more than that, thank you for being willing to lead the citizens of this community as a representative from District Number 10 on the Montgomery County Commission. So thank you both very much. I want to remind you, the viewers, that early voting will take place July the 13th through July the 28th. The location will be at Election Commission Office. They're at 350 Paget Lane, Suite 404. I want to say thanks also to our panelists today, Mr. Jay Albertia, Mr. Lee Irwin, and Mr. Jimmy Settle. You had a great range of questions ranging from stormwater and education to libraries, questions on consolidated government, quality of life issues, as well as county and city collaborative ventures. Thank you very, very much once again to our panelists today. And thanks also to our timekeeper, Ms. Yvonne Pickering, and thanks to the Mass Communications Department here on the campus of Austin Peay State University for making this broadcast possible. And a special note of appreciation to the staff of Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville area Chamber of Commerce who made this forum possible. Until next time, I'm Van Stokes. Thank you for watching.